The first and second were presented to the Commission in 2009 and 2011 respectively, and after full evidentiary hearings were found to be reasonable and in the public interest, subject to certain findings and directives applicable to future plan filing. The company has followed those findings and directives in developing the 2013 plan. The company's objectives in developing the 2013 plan remain unchanged from those used for developing the 2009 and 2011 plans. The overall goal of the IRP process is to identify a balanced mix of resources, including supply-side and demand-side options that meet the company's and its customers' near-term and long-term energy needs in an efficient, reliable, and environmentally responsible manner at the lowest reasonable cost, while considering future risks and uncertainties and preserving fuel diversity that Dominion Virginia Power's customers currently enjoy. Although the plan is a snapshot in time, the planning process is a dynamic, ongoing process. As the Commission is aware, the company plans on a system basis, meaning for both its Virginia and North Carolina service territories. And in the years it does not file its plan in Virginia for a Commission determination, it files it in North Carolina for approval. Therefore, the company's planning cycle is conducted on an annual basis. Process improvements and updates to forecasts and assumptions occur during this annual process. For purposes of developing each year's plan, the company develops a forecast of load. The evidence will show that the company conducts a load forecast based on industry standard protocols and using industry standard modeling practices. The company's long-term load forecast found that over the planning period, the company is expected to have an average annual increases in peak demand of 1.6% and energy requirements of 1.7%. After the load forecast was completed, the company examined its existing resource base to meet the load for the planning period, which is 2014 through 2028. There are three overriding factors that have contributed significantly to the development of the 2013 plan and the company's planning for the future. The first is the current trend for low natural gas prices. As the Commission is well aware, natural gas prices are forecasted to remain low, which, when coupled with least cost modeling methodology, leads to a supply-side expansion plan that is almost entirely reliant on natural gas-fired generation in the form of combined cycle and combustion turbine technology. This has been set forth in the 2013 plan as the base plan, or Plan A. While natural gas is a reliable, low-cost, and relatively low-emissions energy source, the company remains mindful that over-reliance on any one fuel source is not preferred from a long-term planning perspective and is not the state of the company's fuel mix today. Fuel diversity has served and will continue to serve the company's customers well and should be maintained in the future. In addition, Virginia Code Section 56-598, subsection 3, requires that an IRP, quote, reflect a diversity of electric generation supply and cost-effective demand reduction contracts and services so as to reduce the risks associated with an over-reliance on any particular fuel or type of generation, demand, and supply resources. The second area is the future of environmental regulations as they relate to existing and future resources and carbon emissions. As discussed in the plan, the President's Climate Action Plan, or the CAP, announced in June 2013, focuses on ways to meet the national greenhouse gas reduction goal of 17% from 2005 levels by 2020. And the presidential memorandum, which directs the EPA to propose new and revised environmental rules, including re-proposed new source performance standards. Due to the lack of specifics in the President's Climate Action Plan and the future uncertainty surrounding the environmental regulation, the company cannot yet predict the direct or indirect financial impact of operations from these rule provisions, but believes that the expenditures and operational requirements necessary to comply with any new requirements could be material. As a result, the company included an alternative plan in the 2013 IRP process that reflects a plausible future path under the President's Climate Action Plan. This plan models additional coal retirements above what is currently planned, as well as the development of non-fossil fuel resources such as new nuclear and renewable resources. Finally, the company is also mindful of the scheduled license expirations of its Surrey Units 1 and 2 and North Anna Units 1 and 2, which occur between the 2032 and 2040 time period. While this is beyond the planning period and may seem like it's in the distant future, these expirations do begin to occur within the study period of 25 years. And the scale of these near emissions-free baseload retirements, over 3,000 megawatts, and the potential impact on fuel diversity, and the long lead time associated with developing replacement nuclear generation demand attention when performing long-term planning. The process up to this point yields the following result. This slide from page 4 of the IRP. It's figure 1.3.1.
So are you justifying for getting into the substance? This is supposed to be opening statements, or you just tell us what you can prove?
Your Honor, I'm laying the foundation for what the evidence will show. If you'd like me not to use it.
Well, opening statements are not to testify to the substance of the case. Just to summarize what you're going to prove to us. If you can just do this quickly, we'll go ahead.
Absolutely. Your Honor, in the IRP, figure 1.3.1 shows the demand needed and the reserve requirement over the planning period that the company calls the capacity gap, and by 2028, it's 3,800 megawatts. The evidence will show that. In addition to the capacity deficit, the evidence will show that there is an energy deficit, and by 2028, figure 1.3.2 will show that it's in excess of 36,000 gigawatt hours. Once the company identifies the capacity and energy gap, it conducts a technical screening and busbar analysis to determine supply-side resources and performs cost-benefit screening on demand-side resources that could feasibly fit into the company's resource mix. These potential resources and their associated economics were then incorporated in the company's planning model strategist, which optimizes the quantity, type, and timing of these resources based on their economics to meet the company's future energy and capacity requirements. For reference, the evidence will show that strategist is the same resource optimization tool used to develop both the 2009 and 2011 plans and is familiar to the Commission and is recognized by the staff as a reasonable proxy of future system operations given the model's input assumptions. The evidence will then show that the company has developed 6 alternative plans to meet the projected capacity and energy needs. These were the base plan, the fuel diversity plan, renewable plan, coal plan, climate action plan, and offshore wind plan. The alternative plans were developed to study plausible future paths for the company. As with the 2009 and 2011 plans, the company used fuel and other energy commodity price forecasts developed by ICF in creating the plan. And staff acknowledged in testimony that these assumptions in the 2013 plan are reasonable. Through strategists, the company evaluated the alternative plans through sensitivities and scenarios that assess risks in order to rehearse the future. In analyzing the base plan and other alternative plans, the evidence will show the process helped identify a recommended strategic path forward that would best meet the projected energy and capacity needs of its customers at the lowest reasonable cost over the planning period. And this is also giving due consideration of the future risks and uncertainties that I highlighted earlier. Specifically, the evidence will show the company proposes to pursue an expansion plan that is consistent with Plan A, the base plan, which follows least cost methodology given base case assumptions, while concurrently continuing with the reasonable development efforts to preserve the additional resources identified in Plan B, the fuel diversity plan. This is so the company and its This is so that the company and its customers are better positioned to meet the challenges of an uncertain industry future over the long term. This strategic path forward, which is collectively referred to in the 2013 IRP as the 2013 plan, will provide the best mix of supply and demand-side resources, including transmission projects, for reliably meeting expected customer load requirements at the lowest reasonable cost under a wide range of potential market conditions. brief summary of the planning process. What the evidence will show is that the base plan relies solely on natural gas for new generation, and as I detailed earlier, the uncertainties with relying solely on one fuel source are not proven at this time. So the company is also pursuing the reasonable development of the fuel diversity plan options, which include the nuclear, solar, and wind resources. As confirmed by the company's busbar curve analysis in the plan, for baseload units, nuclear generation has the lowest available dollar per kilowatt year that is scalable, second only to a natural gas-fired combined cycle combustion turbine. The evidence will also show that under the fuel diversity plan, the company's reliance on natural gas is decreased as compared to the base plan. Therefore, the company believes it's very important for its customers when considering long-term fuel diversity for there to be a balanced mix of generation resources. The company has also followed several directives from the Commission's 2011 plan order. Those included modeling North 3 as able to compete within strategist with other resources, as well as including coal resources without carbon capture sequestration in its busbar analysis. Those were included in the 2013 plan. In addition, the 2011 plan order required no changes to the way the company modeled DSM programs or the stakeholder process. In short, the 2013 plan is a long-term planning tool used by the company and monitored by the Commission. And the company continues to work with the Commission, its staff, and interested parties to enhance the IRP process. That said, the 2013 plan is consistent with Commission directives as well as prescribed statutory regulatory requirements and efforts by other parties to argue that this plan should be rejected, should be denied. Staff conducted its review of the 2013 plan, and while staff identified some areas of future improvement, it found that the load forecast appears reasonable and within acceptable bounds. And it found that the 2013 plan is robust with respect to a range of future possible price outcomes. That is not to say that the planning process developed by the company is without room for improvement. Therefore, the evidence will show that the company has offered to meet with the staff to address their concerns, to replace or add certain scenarios and sensitivity conditions in future plans. The company has offered also to provide information on modeling scenarios through discovery, and to study the value of fuel diversity, and to explore and refine alternative rate design proposals in future plan filings. In addition, the company intends to continue its stakeholder review process. These efforts will ensure that the planning process is transparent to stakeholders and can benefit from their diverse viewpoints prior to the development of the next plan filed for Commission determination in Virginia. The company will provide direct and rebuttal testimony from witnesses who, like the 2013 plan itself, represent virtually all areas of the company, as well as ICF, the reputable outside vendor that provided the fuel and market forecast, and many of the key planning assumptions related to environmental regulation that form the basis for the 2013 plan. The company remains committed to pursuing the development of the resources that meet the needs of its customers, while supporting fuel diversity through continued development of new wind, solar, and nuclear resources. This will minimize the risk associated with changing market conditions, industry regulations, and the consumer trend toward increased use of renewable. We look forward to developing a record during the course of this proceeding and urge the Commission to find the 2013 plan reasonable and in the public interest. Thank you.
Thank you.